Now, something a bit different, but quite disturbing, really. The number of police incidents involving legal highs in Sussex has trebled in just a year. The Centre for Social Justice has been contacting every force in the country to get an idea of the scale of the problem of legal highs in the last year. Here in Sussex, I think we're worse than other bits of the country as well. They say the police were called 75 times, and last year was just 23. Rupert Oldham-Reid is Senior Researcher at the Centre for Social Justice. Hello, Rupert.
Morning, Neil.
Across the country, I mean, I think it's up everywhere, isn't it?
It is. We've seen an average rise across England of about 150% in the last year. In Sussex, it's about 200%, so it is a slightly higher rise, and it is quite worrying.
Right. Okay. Now, legal highs, let's just see exactly what we're talking about. These are things that you can buy over the counter in certain sort of what they call head shops, and I suppose the danger is we don't really know what's in them.
Exactly. Some of them mimic the effects, well, they're all designed, in fact, to mimic the effects of already illegal drugs. So it could be ecstasy, cannabis, LSD, and also they are as addictive, and can be actually more addictive and as harmful. We've heard reports of young people losing their bladders, having heart failure, being admitted to hospital, and as these incidents in Sussex have revealed, they're also being related to domestic violence, antisocial behaviour. And the UK is one of the worst countries in Europe. In fact, we've got the highest numbers of any other country.
Well, what's interesting in this, and I think it's shown up in your figures, is the trend over the years. Since 2011, there were 4 incidents back then there were 12 the next year, then 24, and now we're up to that figure I mentioned earlier on, 75. I mean, it's like exponential, isn't it? I mean, as I remember my mathematical curves.
It is. I mean, we have to remember part of this will be down to increased awareness. The fact is that the police now know what these substances are. Before, some of it might have been recorded as an already illegal drug, but there is that awareness. But it can't be argued with, because we've also seen the increase in the number of people going into addiction treatment, for example. We can see the number of hospital admissions rising. So we know it's an increasing problem, and that's why we're calling on the government to implement a general ban that they brought in Ireland. We spoke to doctors across Ireland, and they said the difference was like night and day. Before the ban, they had young people being admitted every weekend, suffering with those symptoms I spoke about earlier. And after the ban, they said those figures went off a cliff, and it was really effective in closing down those shops that were selling these very dangerous substances to, it is mostly young people. Yeah. If you go into any of these shops, Brighton and elsewhere, they are packaged like sweets, and whereas you might spend £50 on a bag of gram of cocaine, you can spend about sort of £5 to £10 and get sort of similar substances, and it really is quite worrying. And because you can go into a high street shop, we've spoken to young people who think that means that somehow there's quality control or trading standards at work, but of course that's not the case.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Rupert. And we'll have to see what the government colour is post the election, and whether or not they are minded to do something about it. I know when Norman Baker was the Home Office Minister, he was really concerned about the problem, came on this programme many times, wanting to see something like an Irish system, but it never actually made it through to legislation. We'll see what happens. 18 minutes to 8 here at BBC Sussex. Now then, back to this old election.